Welcome. This is our annual safeguarding update, and this year it's an important one. Keeping Children Safe in Education 2026 comes into force on the 1st of September and replaces the 2025 edition. Everyone watching this, teaching staff, support staff, admin, site team, catering, needs to know what's changed because safeguarding is everyone's responsibility. I'll keep this focused on what's new and, more importantly, what it means for how you work day to day. We'll start with the headline changes, then spend most of our time on part one, the bit where every member of staff must read, before looking at some management level changes that still affects you, and finishing with the specific actions I'll need you to take going forward. A few terms have changed, and I want you using the new ones. First, we no longer say sexting or youth-produced sexual imagery. The term now is making or sharing of nudes or semi-nudes. This is an important update. It explicitly covers images that have been generated or altered by AI, including deepfakes. So a fake nude of a pupil made with an app is squarely a safeguarding incident. Second, you'll hear family help, universal and community-based early help, where we just used to say early help. That's about routing lower level concerns to the right level of support. And third, a small but useful clarification on what data protection laws now covers. The takeaway hasn't changed. If a child comes to you about an image, your job is to report it the same day. Do not view it. Do not share it. Do not look into it yourself. Child and child abuse now carries the fuller title, including harassment and violence. And there are 3 shifts I want you to take away. 1, it's treated as a safeguarding issue for both children, the child who's been harmed and the child who caused the harm, because the child causing harm is often telling us something about their own experience. 2, the guidance is clear that this is preventable, which puts the emphasis on us noticing early indicators rather than waiting for something serious. 3, be alert to the times and places where risk spikes. Corridors, unsupervised moments, and particularly the period immediately after school. I want you to pay attention when you're on duty, when you're leaving the school building, when you're coming into school. A reminder, please, that when you're on duty, you should be wearing your high-vis jackets. If you need one, please speak to the operation team. There's also a stronger focus on misogyny running through the document. Practically, if you see behaviour that feels like just banter, that's often exactly the point to log it and tell the safeguarding team. In relation to criminal and sexual exploitation, there are 2 mindset changes. First, exploitation is often organised. County lines, networks, gangs. A young person may see that group as friends or even family, which makes it harder for them to see themselves as a victim. Second, and please hold on to this one, most sexual abuse is by someone the child already trusts and knows, not a stranger. And the guidance is explicit that exploited children are sometimes criminalised for things that they were coerced into doing. So when a pupil is caught with something they shouldn't have or somewhere they shouldn't be, the question isn't only what did they do, but who might be behind this? If that thought crosses your mind, that's a safeguarding referral. I want to read this one out because it captures the shift. Victims are not always recognised and can be criminalised for actions they take whilst under coercion. Children are manipulated, groomed and exploited without fully understanding the abuse that they're experiencing. Within our local context, Hillfields, we need to be aware of the risks in this area. The recent themes. In future safeguarding CPD sessions, I'll be going into area-specific contextual information that we need to know to keep our children safe. When in doubt though, take it to the DSL. And remember, we treat the child as a victim first. Mental health is now clearly framed as something that can become a safeguarding concern. That includes self-harm and thoughts of suicide. You're not being asked to diagnose anything. That's what trained professionals are for. What you are well placed to do is notice change. A pupil whose behaviour shifts noticeably, who's withdrawn, who stopped doing things they enjoyed, who seems exhausted, or who shows physical signs of self-harm or not looking after themselves. If you notice it, pass it on. That's the whole job. And if you ever believe a child is in immediate danger, don't wait. Please call 999 or use the NHS 111 hotline. This is a sensitive area, so if any of this raises something specific or personal to you, please reach out for support. Serious violence has been rewritten with a stronger prevention focus. The single most important line: any concern that a child is carrying, using, or even intending to use a weapon goes to the DSL. I will carry out a risk assessment. Some pupils are at higher risks. Those with disrupted education, a history of offending, or who have spent significant time out of mainstream. The guidance asks us to spot unsafe times and places by listening to pupils and staff. The response, the evidence support, is early relationship-based support, a trusted adult, mentoring, targeted intervention. What you should never do is try to manage a weapon situation yourself. You report it immediately and let the process take over. For the rest of the term, we'll be launching surveys to understand children's perspective on the use of weapons. We'll also be sharing the results of that survey with all the staff body. In relation to abuse, there are 3 quick clarifications that broaden how we think about abuse. First, abuse can flow from child to parent or carer. It is worth remembering when weighing up what's happening at home. Second, verbal abuse. Persistent criticism, belittling, name-calling is recognized as emotional abuse. And third, there's a much stronger emphasis on financial exploitation, including financially motivated sextortion. That's where someone is tricked into sending an image and then blackmailed with it. That's increasingly common with our age group, and pupils are often too frightened or ashamed to tell anyone. So a young person who's suddenly withdrawn, secretive about their phone, or frightened may be caught in exactly this. The guidance has examples of pupils who may benefit from support earlier, before anything reaches a statutory threshold. That now explicitly includes children who were pregnant or who were already parents themselves, and children showing early signs of harmful behaviour. Children being repeatedly removed from lessons or on a reduced timetable. The point is that these are often the contributing factors that make a child vulnerable to exploitation. So noticing them early and flagging them lets us get the right help in at the right level. The 3 things in the online space. 1. There's new guidance on using generative AI safely and lawfully in materials we produce and use with pupils. So if you're using an AI tool in class, please check this against our acceptable use policy. If in doubt, please speak to Andrew Walls or someone from the IT team. 2. The expectation is that schools are mobile-free environments by default. Our policy is that pupils in year 7, 8 and 9 hand in their mobile phone. There is no exception. This is facilitated during tutor time. Pupils in years 10, 11 and 16 plus should have their phones turned off and in their bags. This must remain out of sight at the start and the end of the school day. We expect consistency from every adult to make this work. 3. Our filtering and monitoring is reviewed at least once a year across all devices with records kept. That's largely a leadership and IT job, but you should know it exists and report anything that gets through the filter to the DSL and the IT team. The section on gender questioning children is now incorporated into KCSIE, and it comes with legal obligations, so I want to be precise and neutral. The headline for all staff is procedural. If a pupil or parent raises anything about social transition, no individual member of staff decides or agrees changes on their own. It goes through our process with the DSL and the head teacher and the parents involved, and it is treated as a significant step requiring caution, especially with younger children. There are also clear rules based on biological sex around toilets, changing rooms, showers, and overnight accommodation. What I'm asking you to do is simple. If a child confides in you, listen with care. Don't make promises about what the school will or won't do. Bring it to the DSL's attention. The head teacher and the DSL will make the ultimate decision and liaise with the family. There are two new groups to keep under your radar. Young carers. These are pupils looking after a parent or sibling, where caring at home shows up as lateness, tiredness, missed homework, or a short fuse. Early identification means they get support instead of sanctions, and children with medical conditions. Usually that's not a safeguarding issue at all, but it becomes one if, say, a child is repeatedly sent in without essential medication and can signal neglect. In both cases, you don't need to be sure, you just need to notice the pattern and pass it on. Briefly, for all of our awareness in relation to volunteers and safer recruitment. The old rule that a supervised volunteer did not need a barred list check has gone. Under the Crime and Policing Act 2026, volunteers who teach, train, instruct or supervise children for more than 3 days in a 30-day period or overnight are now in a regulated activity and need an enhanced DBS with a barred list check. If you organise a regular helpers or volunteers to attend a school, please follow the visitor or volunteer process. More information on this will be shared by the DSL. When pupils transfer, the guidance is clear in sharing information. Sharing what's relevant and proportionate, well presented, so that the receiving school can assess risk and put support in place. DSLs on both ends should be talking where there is a concern. For most of you, this sits with me as a DSL. But the human point is, don't assume the next school automatically knows something important. If you're aware of a risk as a pupil leaves us, make sure the DSL knows so that it travels with them. Before we finish, I want you to hold the scenario in your mind. A Year 9 pupil you teach has become withdrawn. They're secretive about their phone and jokingly mentions owing someone. What's your next move? This has the shape of financially motivated sextortion or exploitation. The child may feel trapped and criminalized. Please make sure you report it. It's not probably nothing. That single habit is what the whole update is really asking of us. If you notice something, report it. A reminder about the safeguarding process. If you're worried about a child, it goes to our safeguarding team on the same day and onto CPOMs. You can see the names and room numbers here and the out of hours route. It is never your job to investigate. It is never an overreaction to report. Thank you for watching and thank you for playing your part in keeping our children safe.